What is going on, guys, and welcome back again to the channel as we are on week 7 of Nick's Picks, and once again I am joined by Ben. Ben, how you doing?
Oh, sorry, I was a little paused. I was handing my tissues out to the Cowboys fans watching. So sorry.
Yeah, that's right, ladies and gentlemen. We still feel for Dak. We're still praying for Dak, but we got to get back to dissing the Cowboys. I mean, come on. The current score right now is 60-56. This is the largest lead that I've had so far in this tournament. Literally, we only differed. I think we only differed on like 2 games last week, and you ended up getting those 2 wrong. But like I said, it's 60-56 at the moment. I am up by 4. So with still over half the season to go, anything is possible. So we start with Thursday night game. We get my Giants pick out of the way like we do pretty much every week. They are playing Thursday night in Philly against the Philadelphia Eagles. And we were just kind of talking about this before we started recording. And look, the Giants could be 6-0 right now, or 5-0, whatever. Yeah, 6-0. And Philly could be 0-6. And I would still be hesitant to pick the Giants just because ever since Deshaun Jackson absolutely ruined our careers, completing a 31-10 comeback over the Giants. It's just pretty much the Giants haven't been the same since then. No matter what the records are, I would always be hesitant to pick the Giants in this game just because of how horrible they've been against Philly these last however many years. So I do have the Eagles winning this one 24-16. Eagles over the Giants.
I always go, whenever I see, I think actually this week we have 2 divisional games for the East. We have the Eagles and Giants in Dallas and Washington, which we'll get to later, obviously. Whenever 2 teams, at least in my opinion, since like 2016, whenever it's been a divisional matchup with the NFC East, either both teams are bad or both teams are good, but the game still isn't that great. Like, it doesn't end up, like, rarely does it ever be a good game, and now it's a Thursday night game, which I also already have low expectations as a whole, but I mean, at least I feel confident that both these quarters will remember when it's 4th down. That being said, though, I do have Philly winning this one 24-20, just barely. I mean, I know it's 4 points, but I don't believe in Carson Wentz. I still don't believe in Carson Wentz, but I also don't think Daniel Jones is a starting quarterback, in my opinion, personally.
All right, so the first Sunday game of the week, we are getting Ben's team out of the way first. It's the Atlanta Falcons going up against the Detroit Lions. The battle of the 2 teams that have made a name for themselves at blowing leads this season. I mean, the Falcons made a name for themselves well before this season, but this season alone, both of these teams.
Cool. Okay, I just want to make it very clear. We blew leads before it was cool.
I think the Falcons are so bad this year that the one thing that they have the crown for, which is blowing leads, they're not even going to do. They're going to give that to Detroit too. So I think Atlanta wins this game because they don't keep their crown of blowing the leads, which you would think is a good thing as a Falcons fan, but the way I'm looking at it, the comical way of looking at this is that they're so bad that they can't even hold their title of losing the lead. So I have the Falcons winning this one 31-28. That wasn't a really football ideal explanation. Like, that was not a very ideal explanation, but you know what? Whatever.
For future record as well, we never know each other's scores until we say it, like, as we're doing this.
Tell me you also did 31-28.
I actually didn't do 31-20. I did 30-28.
Wow.
Which is what's really weird. So Nick did a Price is Right on me. But for once, they didn't blow a lead, which is the most surprising thing that, I took away from last week, is that I texted Nick.
Yeah, I was going to say, disclaimer.
I texted Nick and I said, hey, how much do you bet Atlanta's going to... Something like, oh, watch Atlanta lose this. And then Atlanta won against... I mean, it was Minnesota, but they won, and I'm just like, I don't know how I feel. Like, I told me, I was like, I don't know how to feel right now. I didn't think we were going to win. Like, I honestly thought we were going to blow this lead again.
Before this video started, me and Ben always kind of, talk a little bit before the video, but we don't really tell each other who we're picking or anything like that. But I did tell Ben that I'm pretty sure we're going to differ on a few picks this week. And I told him that there was one game for sure that I know we do not have the same pick. So I'm calling this right now because I still don't know what Ben's pick is, but I'm calling this right now. Ben's not picking the same team as me on this one. The Cleveland Browns going up against the Cincinnati Bengals. With all the dysfunction going on with the Cleveland Browns right now, I think Joe Burrow gets his signature rookie win against the Cleveland Browns this week. I have the Cincinnati Bengals winning this one 24-21 over the Cleveland Browns.
Well, you are right that we are differing. I am picking Cleveland, and it's really, I'll be honest with you, I flipped a coin and it got Cleveland on me. Like, I really don't have confidence in either team. When it comes to Cleveland, like, Cleveland has a lot of talent. Like, Odell Beckham Jr. has a lot of talent. Jarvis Landry has, like, they have a lot of talent, and it's just one of those. I mean, and obviously Nick Chubb is out, but
Landry might be too. I know Landry got hurt. I don't know.
And he might be, yeah. But at the end of the day, I do have Cleveland winning this one, 27-23. Kind of a weird why I did 23. I don't know. I literally don't know why. I just picked number 23 because it just seemed appropriate.
All right, so going into this week, there are only 3 undefeated teams left. These are 2 of them. The last one is Seattle, of course, and we'll get to them later because they play the Cardinals this week, which will be an interesting one. But the Pittsburgh Steelers going up against the Tennessee Titans in a battle of 2 of the last 3 unbeaten teams. And look, this is a tough one to pick. The Steelers, if you had told me at the beginning of the season they'd be undefeated at this point, I'd be pretty shocked. You know, if anyone in that division, you would think Baltimore. The Tennessee Titans, if you were to tell me they'd be undefeated, I probably wouldn't be shocked. I'd probably believe it a little bit more just because the only real tough team that they've played so far is Buffalo. So when it comes to these 2 teams, what I look at the most is the quarterback play. And even though he's at the age that he's at, Ben Roethlisberger, I would still take him as a more reliable quarterback over Tannehill. I got to go with Pittsburgh here. I do think it's going to be a close game, and I do think this is a toss-up, and it could go either way. It really depends on who controls the game offensively better. But I do think the Steelers go on to win this one 32-27.
I was hesitant in picking Tennessee because other than Buffalo, which they completely ran right over, and you know, I still get the funny images of Josh Norman just realizing that he's a mortal man compared to Derrick Henry, just with that stiff arm, is just absolutely a beast. And even Derrick Henry, even last game, put the team on his back against Houston and just showed why he is, at least as of right now, I think you could argue he's the best running back right now. Yes, Chris McCaffrey I still think is better, but he's also been hurt, so you could argue who's better between the 2 of them, but I don't think you lose either way. That being said, though, I got Tennessee winning this one 34-28. Just because even though Pittsburgh has a very good run defense and a very good defense overall, I just got this feeling about Derrick Henry, which again goes into my 2-point conversion, that I think is going to be the key here.
All right, the New Orleans Saints going up against the Carolina Panthers this week. I'm going to keep this one kind of short and sweet. I'm picking the Saints in this one 28-14 over the Panthers. Just for kind of obvious reasons, I do think the Saints are the better team between these 2, and the Panthers have played well this year and they have everything that it takes to upset the Saints, but just I do think that the Saints haven't played up to their full potential yet, and I think eventually in one of these weeks here they're going to figure it out and they're just going to go on a run here. And by run I mean something like 8 to 10 games in a row, just win nonstop.
I mean, I agree with you. I mean obviously I'm a Falcon fan. I don't like either of these teams. I honestly hate the Saints with a burning passion, but I'm also a realist in knowing like how good a team is. But I still have Carolina winning, or excuse me, not Carolina, wrong. I have New Orleans winning this one, and we both have New Orleans scoring 28 points, but I do have New Orleans winning this one 28-21 over Carolina. For the same reason that you said, I think New Orleans is going to start putting things together to where they're going to make a run and show that they're one of the top teams, not only in their division compared to Tampa, but also just in the NFC.
All right, so another game that I don't think should honestly waste too much time on, just because obviously the Jets were one freaking week off of getting shut out. Like, I called them getting shut out in week 5. They get shut out in week 6. The Buffalo Bills are playing them this week, and look, the Jets suck. The Jets are easily the worst team in the league. Bills win this one, I think, fairly easily, 38-6 over the New York Jets.
So I'm gonna go an upset. I'm picking the Jets. I'm just kidding. I'm not that stupid. I did it week 1 and I paid my price. I did it week 2. I did it a lot of times picking against Buffalo, and I still do not like. But I still am not confident in Buffalo.
I don't understand.
But they're playing against a team who doesn't know how to play football. They don't know. The Jets don't know how to play football. That's the thing, and that is why I'm picking Buffalo to win 30-0. I am predicting the shutout right now. just to rub salt in the wound if I even come close.
Washington football team going up against the Dallas Cowboys. Now, Dallas got embarrassed on Monday night by the Arizona Cardinals in their first game without Dak, which, I mean, you kind of expected, but at the same time, like, you figured that offense was good enough to where, I mean, Dak was putting up 400-plus yards a game almost. Like,
fun fact, he was, at the end of this week, he's still leading the league in passing yards.
Yeah, so Dak was putting up insane numbers.
Amazing.
So obviously it has something to do with the offensive scheme, and apparently Andy Dalton does not fit it. So Dallas is going to have to figure this out, whether they're going to have to switch up the scheme. Obviously they can't rely too much on Ezekiel Elliott or Mr. Fumble Man over here. So I don't know where Dallas goes from here. I do know that they beat Washington because Washington is just as dysfunctional of a mess as pretty much any team out there besides maybe the Jets. But I don't know if I mentioned the score, but 31-23 Dallas over Washington.
The score that I'm going to pick, because I am also picking Dallas, even though I think Dallas is the second best team in that division, but then again, that's just picking who's the shiniest turd when it comes to who's good in the NFC East. That being said, though, I do have Dallas win this one 28-17 just because I have more confidence in Dallas than Washington, but that's not necessarily saying that I think they're like that much better.
All right, so Aaron Rodgers, we talked a lot about him last week going into his big matchup with Tom Brady and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, what was supposed to be the best game of the week to watch. Yeah, that took a hard left, didn't it? I don't
it was
know.
Very weird.
I mean, you have bad games. Like, I understand that. Everyone has a bad game here and there. So I don't want to say that this one game just means all of a sudden Aaron Rodgers went from MVP candidate to slumpier or something like that. I'm not trying to imply that at all. And I do think that the Green Bay Packers beat the Texans, and there's a reason I haven't talked about the Texans because there's really nothing to talk about. They're just kind of trash this year. They finally got rid of Bill O'Brien, and I do hope that turns him around, and I do hope Deshaun Watson gets a team that he deserves around him finally. But yeah, I'm picking the Packers in this one, 30-24. I do keep it close, but 30-24 over the Texans. But I don't know what happened with the Green Bay Packers against Tampa Bay, but if that's how they're going to play against contenders, you definitely got to watch out for them moving forward this season. Definitely watch games where they play some of the better teams in their division, like Chicago.
We both can look at, I don't know when Chicago and Green Bay do play, but I think that first match is going to be a very good game. Aaron Rodgers, he had one bad game. I remember people saying like a year ago or 2 years ago, oh my God, Aaron Rodgers, he's falling down. He's not the man he was. And he's still had like 25 touchdowns and like 5 interceptions. I do have Green Bay, though, winning this one 32-21 over Houston because I think, again, Green Bay has a better team overall, and I think they're going to bounce back against a very spotty defense, and Deshaun Watson really doesn't have anyone to throw to unless he wants to just clone himself at this point.
All right, so in my personal opinion, this is the game of the week. I'm super excited to watch this one. Seattle Seahawks going up against the Arizona Cardinals in an NFC West showdown where the Seattle Seahawks unbeaten still. They're one of the 3 unbeaten teams left. Arizona Cardinals, I don't think their record shows how good this team actually is and how good they actually can be. I do still think they're trying to figure a couple things out because, I mean, Kyler Murray is still young. They're only with their second-year head coach. Look, the Cardinals are figuring it out a little slower than normal, but they are figuring it out, and I think this team is going to be a real force in the NFC West for the Seattle Seahawks to deal with. I do think still where it stands right now, Seattle's just a lot better of a team than Arizona and has too many advantages over Arizona for me to pick them. I will, while watching this game, I'll be rooting for Arizona. But I am going to pick Seattle on this one, 35-27 over the Arizona Cardinals.
I'm going to spit a fun fact. Russell Wilson, I'm looking this up on Pro Football Reference, so I'm not sure it should be right. He has a 9-6-1 record according to Pro Football Reference against Arizona. Like, for whatever reason, against Arizona, it's almost like a pick-em between him against them. I have Arizona winning this one 28-24 over Seattle. I do think Russell Wilson and the Seahawks are a better team than Arizona, but I do think Arizona's going to get one game on them here.
All right, so the Kansas City Chiefs going up against the Denver Broncos, 33-13 Chiefs. Like, what do you want me to say about this game? Oh, the Chiefs just have all the advantages here. No, the Chiefs are like the Chiefs are years. The Chiefs are years and years better than the Denver Broncos.
It's going to be a lot weirder because my score is Kansas City beating Denver 32-14. I'm not making this up. I'm not making. This is 2020. It's weird. What do we say? Like we say it all the time. Kansas City has so many weapons. Denver has nothing. I don't even know who their quarterback is. I'm not sure if it's still Drew Lock. I don't know. Not that it matters because Denver has nothing.
Put aside the Seattle and Arizona game, and this would probably be one of the more interesting games of the week. Definitely aren't the two best teams in their divisions or conferences by any means. But I do think that these are two teams that have the potential to be dark horses in their conferences. So when those two teams play against each other, I do think that it's going to I think a lot of playoff vibes are going to show. But I'm going with the Patriots on this one, 27-23 over the 49ers. But I do think watching this game, it's going to have a real playoff vibe to it with where these two teams sit in their conferences and divisions.
This is a close game, I think, because New England and San Francisco, they're both arguably top in their division, or could at least they have a chance. But I'm only going to pick New England because San Francisco still has, Bosa out, a lot of key players out, or, Garoppolo 1 week will do really well, and then the next week, he'll be average, and then another week he's just terrible, and then it starts all over again. So I do have New England this one in a close game, 24-21. I'm going with who's the better coach, and I think we can both agree that Belichick is far better than Shanahan.
All right, the Los Angeles Chargers going up against the Jacksonville Jaguars this week. Now, look, the Chargers have had a rough schedule to start the season, and I think Herbert is playing underratingly really well. But, I mean, the Jacksonville Jaguars, you know what they're doing. At this point, I think they've given up. They started off hot, but I'm pretty sure from here it just kind of all goes downhill for the Jaguars. So, for me, I do think this is an easy one. I think the Chargers win it 28-21 over the Jacksonville Jaguars. But this is where I would like to see LA really show how good of a team that they are.
Yeah, I mean, I think Herbert, I'm not going to make Foley on it right now, but I think as of right now, I have him as my Rookie of the Year, or at least a candidate for it, because he is doing really, really well for a rookie as well. And the Chargers do have some good pieces around him, like Keenan Allen's a top receiver, Hunter Henry's a solid tight end. Their defense is very solid. Yeah, they have some injuries here and there, but and Jacksonville, they had one good week, I think 2 good weeks, and then we really started to see that, Jacksonville really doesn't have anything, and they just got really lucky. And for that reason, I do have the Chargers winning this one 26-17 over Jacksonville.
All right, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers in the Sunday night game going up against the Las Vegas Raiders. Las Vegas has surprised a lot of people this season by some of the teams that they've beaten, but I think if you look at their record and their overall play, that they're not that impressive of a team. Obviously, they're better than I thought they were at the beginning of the season, but I think when you just look at the teams that they did beat and not look at them as a whole, you miss a lot of flaws that there are with this team. As for Tampa Bay, they came out and shocked the world, absolutely beat the crap out of formerly undefeated Green Bay. So they lead their division right now. They're playing really good football. And one thing I've learned in my many years watching football, you don't bet against Tom Brady. You just don't. So 30-17 is my score for this one. The Bucs over the Raiders.
Now cue me, the Tom Brady hater, going against Tom Brady. I do think Tampa's the better. I do think Tampa has a better overall talented team. But I also believe in upsets, and this will be my second upset of the week. Hopefully I can go 2 for 2. I got the Raiders winning this one 28-26 in a very close game. I do think, and here's the reason why I do have the Raiders win this one, is because they won it. They have 2 games that really have me feeling a little more confident in them upsetting Tampa. They beat Kansas City and New Orleans. Now, yes, New Orleans was without Michael Thomas that week, but Kansas City was fully healthy, and they had a good lead, and yes, they almost blew it, but they came back, took a lead, and they at least held on and beat arguably still the the top team to win the Super Bowl this year in Kansas City and in their division nonetheless. So I think Vegas is going to pull the upset. Do I think they're the same? They're as good as their record is? No, but I do think they're going to pull an upset this week. That I also been saying this entire season since we started out that not Oakland. Knew I was going to do it again. Las Vegas is going to surprise some teams, and I think this week is one they're going to surprise again.
All right, and the Monday night game, the Los Angeles Rams going up against the Chicago Bears. And look, I said it last week. I didn't pick the Bears like the first 4 weeks of the season and went 0 for 4. Like, I don't understand what has gotten into the Bears this season. I know that their defense is killer. I know that as much as I hate to say it, Bears fans, you do have limits with Nick Foles at quarterback. I know he won the Super Bowl for Philly, but that was literally just him playing the last 5 weeks of the season. I don't think Nick Foles has what it takes to go an entire season as a starting quarterback and still be in midseason form when it gets to the postseason. So I do think they continue to roll here, and I'm going to go ahead and pick the Bears just because the Rams are deceivingly good this year. All 4 of their wins have come against the NFC least. I'm going to go ahead and pick the Bears in this one, 20-17 over the LA Rams. But I do think Chicago starts to pump the brakes here within the next couple weeks.
I think both teams have very good and underrated defense, I think. Obviously, and they both are led by like generational type talents on their front fours. You know, obviously Chicago has Khalil Mack, who I think is at least second behind who is number 1 in my opinion in Aaron Donald. And both these guys are just absolute like freaks of nature when it comes to defense, game to the pass rusher. I didn't even realize that Aaron Donald is actually leading the league in sacks at 7.5, and because of that I got in a very, very close defensive game, and the only reason I'm picking the Rams is because I feel slightly more confident in actually their defense and not their offense. So I got the Rams winning this one 18-14, a weird score. So now this is my first weird score for our pick.
I don't think that one's happening,
dude.
I mean,
compared to yours, you have weird picks, half your games. But I do have the Rams winning this one. I do have the Rams winning this one 18-14.
All right, so moving on to our 2-point conversions. Now I'm going to do something a little bit different. So what we normally do with these stats or whatever is we'll like take 2 players and combine them and say they'll get at least this many yards or at least this many touchdowns. Well, I'm going to predict basically Kyler Murray's game against the Seattle Seahawks. Now, I'm not going to go like to the yard. I'm going to give like a small little range here for each, but each one of these stats has to be true. I can't get 2 of them and still get the 2 points. Here's my prediction for what Kyler Murray will do against the Seattle Seahawks in a game that I predict the Seattle Seahawks will win, but I do think in this game Kyler Murray shows that he's the second best quarterback in this division. So I think Kyler Murray puts up between 250 and 275 yards passing, anywhere between 2 to 4 touchdown passes. I don't think he throws less than 2. I don't think he throws more than 4, and no interceptions. I'm not even doing a range for the interceptions, just 0 interceptions. So Kyler Murray has to get in between that yardage, in between those touchdowns, and 0 interceptions for me to get that 2-point conversion.
So question, so if he goes over, like let's say if he gets 300 yards passing but still gets
I don't
like 3
get it.
touchdowns, you don't get, okay, I just want to make sure I was clear on that. All right, so mine actually literally just changed within like the last like 5 seconds. Originally I was going to do mine with Derrick Henry. I know I said that earlier in the video, but I ended up changing it because I pulled an audible because normally, like, I did, I think it was like week 2 or 3, I did, Patrick Mahomes and Lamar Jackson combining for yards or whatever. And I went all offense a lot of the week. This time, like I said, I do think the Rams in Chicago have 2 of the top defenses in the league. But I'm going with Khalil Mack and Aaron Donald. These 2 players on the defensive line will combine between the 2 of them at least 8 sacks combined. They will combine for 8 sacks during that game. And on top of it, just to make sure it's not like one of those where one player goes off like Patrick Mahomes did against the Ravens, one of them, between either Mack and Donald, has to have at least 2 sacks as well. So let's say Aaron Donald has 2 sacks, Khalil Mack has to have 6, or vice versa for me to get the 2 points.
Okay, guys. Once again, the score is 60-56, and we had quite a few differing games this week. So, big chance for Ben to come back, or a big chance for me to extend my lead going into the halfway mark during the season. Ben, is there anything you want to say before we sign off?
Return of the Mac.
All right, guys. Hope you have a good one. Sorry I haven't posted the last 3 days. I haven't felt the greatest, but I'm going to get back to regularly posting. But thanks for sticking with our picks as we've made it all the way to week 7. Have a great one, guys. Peace.
See ya.